by saying those words, he meant the Deputy President William Ruto. Of course, he's tipped to be among one of the people contesting for the presidency come 2022. Andrew Kamili, I couple it up with this question. Yeah. Is that I want to get categorical statement from the roundtable, of course, you too. Is clearly, how about the unification of the ruling Jubilee Party? You can remember the pomp, the color with which this party was launched in 10 September 2016. And what we have heard was perhaps that amalgamation of the parties to change the political landscape in the country with regards to the staying within the political spectrum, not necessarily in power, because of the setback that we have had from the political class and the parties since 1991. But equally, is not detrimental to the taxpayers and generally to the political class in the country. And is it perhaps a continuation of the perpetual continuity of political hypocrisy in this country if the Jubilee Party breaks apart?
Well, the ideal situation would be that when you want to run for a position as big as the president of this country, you're able to galvanize the whole nation behind you. But unfortunately, the dynamics in our country dictate that when you're running for such a position, you have to run to your backyard first, get your ethnic endorsement, and further to which you're able to move to other countries, because even the other ethnic groups will ask you, have you been able to galvanize your people behind you? You remember what happened to Mudavadi in 2013 or 20? So he was you know, he was in a rock, between a rock and a very hard place. He was being asked by the other people, if Raila Odinga has been able to get more votes than you in your own area, and how are you coming here to ask us for our votes? You know, that was a very serious question that he was defeated to answer for, I mean, throughout all that time. And now the best thing that is happening in Kenya right now is that everybody has, you know, has the capacity to talk about what they think will happen in 2022. And I don't understand why people would say that it is wrong for William Ruto to, you know, walk from this part of the country to the other. Okay. This is what William Ruto has been doing since time immemorial. If I remember very well, between 2013 and 2017, he was doing the very same thing when he was with Uhuru Kenyatta for the first time. Okay. And the reason why he was doing that was to continue, you know, whipping emotions to ensure that the ICC debate was dealt with properly. Then when he was doing it, it was not an issue to Uhuru Kenyatta and his team. Okay. But now that he's doing it for his personal interests or for his favors, then it becomes a problem, which I think is, to an extent, you know, hypocritical of Uhuru Kenyatta. But I think Uhuru Kenyatta is just doing the right thing. He's like the father in a polygamous family. Okay. In a polygamous family, there are so many interests. Here is Raila Odinga who has to be kept quiet to ensure that Uhuru achieves whatever he wants to achieve. What will he do when he knows very well that Raila Odinga and William Ruto don't see eye to eye? Okay. Here is William Ruto, my son, who had promised that I'll give this parcel of land, but something is happening that is a bit unusual. What have I to do? I have to keep assuring him that this thing is within, you know, is within our bracket. Don't be worried about it. Okay. So this is what Uhuru is trying to do, try to balance. But in as much as he's doing this, there's the mother of, you know, the mother of the first lady who is talking to her children, telling her children, you know, your father sometimes gets confused by these other women, so ensure that you put a lot of pressure on him so that, you know, he gets to give you what you deserve. Okay. The younger one as well, I mean, the last wife also is also here trying to ensure that they get their part of the cake. So Uhuru Kenyatta is in a tight place, but he's doing it very well. Okay. He's doing it very right, and nobody should be worried right now. There's not so much politics in Kenya, because if I remember in 2005, 2005, between 2002 and 2007, when Kibaki was the president, there was a referendum that caused a lot of debate, and it was very heated. Okay. But that did not stop Kibaki from delivering on his mandate. So the talks, we cannot divorce politics from anything in this country. Okay. Politics has to go on, and that will happen every day. Okay. And that cannot stop Uhuru Kenyatta from achieving anything if he's so interested in doing it. Okay. And I can assure you, even as from tomorrow, the debate on referendum, the moment it will kick off, there'll be a very serious hit in this country that nobody will be able to. Okay, and he has clearly stated that with regards to the keeping at bay of the political campaigns, instead focus on development projects and the implementation of the Big Four agenda. Before we go on break, quick thoughts from you, Benki Nuthia, with regards to the cards with which the president needs to be very strategic. How well does he need to position himself in pole position with regards to one being the head of state, who is different from between the one in 2013 and 2017? Who at some point appeared to be handicapped and could not do anything when he threw his hands up in there, saying
Munataka nifanye nini during the anti-corruption summit at State House in Nairobi, and now appears to be more energized, well, with a lot of vigor. Now speaks a lot of sense and appeals to Kenyans. Is he acting by the groundswell of the public demands at the moment and the concerns? And will that address the faults of the first half administration, which was faulted of corruption, mismanagement of the economy, mishandling of the affairs that affect the common mwananchi, and the implementation of the Big Four agenda, which now seem to be the color point of his second and final term in office?
Wonderful. I think the statement, munataka nifanye nini, was a very strong statement, because we had just come from a new constitution, which he started implementing after the 2013 elections. And in this new constitution, there were so many provisions that gave so many powers to every other institution, and the presidency appeared weak. In fact, it appeared like it was one seat where if you had, you can't fire this, you can't do this, you can't do this, until, as you go along, you get to discover something new. Even a new car, if you get into a new car, even if you're a good driver, between here and the town, you'll have to be a little bit slow and careful. And then once you get used to it, I think he has learned how to drive the new car, and he's driving it quite well.
Okay.
In terms of how he has to manage between now and the next election, I think it's very easy. If I was the president, my focus would be on two things. What do Kenyans want? They want a united country and a peaceful country. And two, they want an end to corruption. In fact, if President Uhuru Kenyatta was to shelve the Big Four agenda first and just work on those two, make sure that Kenya is a very cohesive and united country, and two, make sure that he fights corruption completely, and of course, number three, make sure that there are no campaigns happening between now, because what happens, unfortunately, with this country, and that's why we need to stop campaigns, people are thinking it's just a hatred for William Ruto. It's not. In fact, I don't have a problem with him. Unfortunately, in this country, one person cannot campaign without antagonizing another. For example, Boni Halwale, who has come out now clearly saying he's supporting the deputy president, has been known to have his own supporters and his own enemies. If you mention a name like Kipchumba Murkomen, there are people who love him and there are people who hate him in equal measure. So if you start campaigning early and Kipchumba Murkomen is seen on the ground campaigning, the people who do not like him, the people who hate him, kind of now develop some emotions. So do those people who love him. And those emotions are the ones that we are trying to curtail now, so that we build the nation, and let those emotions be evoked in 2022.